Nowadays, if you want to start a new manga series, you can pick up a volume 1 at a bookstore pretty easily, or you could go on like an app like Shonen Jump or Manga Plus. You have these options to discover new series easily. But back in my day, all we had was the Shonen Jump magazine. Let's talk about the USA edition of Shonen Jump magazine.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and on today's video, we're going to just take a look back at the USA Shonen Jump magazine. See, for those that may not be aware, because I'm looking at the dates here, 2003 was 22 years ago, the manga series that we know and love as popular in the West, a lot of them were published through a Shonen Jump magazine format, just like they're still published in Japan, where it's this kind of larger size, thinner paper edition where you get a bunch of different series in one issue. And so like where we have weekly Shonen Jump in Japan, for example, which does everything weekly, we got these monthly in the US, but these were really cool and a really cool way to get into manga at the time, and is the whole reason I even like know and read manga. If I'm being totally honest, there's a bunch of things in here that I love that I only know because of Shonen Jump magazine. So I kind of wanted to talk about that and kind of go in a retrospective. I don't have every single issue. We're not going to look at every single issue. We're just going to go through, flip through, see if there's something interesting to talk about. It's going to be kind of a casual chat. Just a trip down memory lane and maybe informing people of when Viz's logo used to be an open book. The other thing I do have, though, is the final print issue of Shonen Jump. This was April 2012, which was the final time they printed Shonen Jump in print, and then it went online after this, and then you can see Shonen Jump Alpha was what they called it before. Now we just have like the Viz Shonen Jump app and the Viz Manga app, and everything's gone digital simul-publishing, which is kind of nice. It's like, oh, chapter comes out in Japan, we get the chapter here kind of thing. Back in the day, this was kind of like the maybe drug into manga and also anime and so many things. So Let's go down memory lane. Maybe you never even knew about this because it's been, what, 13 years since it ended physical publication. I thought it'd be fun, so we're going to enjoy this. And if you enjoy this type of video, hit the like button and subscribe to the notification bell if you haven't already, because I definitely want to know if you enjoyed this. You can also leave a comment down below. But yeah, we're going to start in September 2003 because it's the oldest issue I have. I don't know if that's my first issue, and I don't know if I have October, November, December of 2003 somewhere. These are just what I have in my house at the moment. These, you can tell some of these are really beat up. They're not made to be like collector's pieces, and they never were. But, I have these a lot, and I've moved them around, and, they're old. We're going to go through them. But the oldest is September 2003, and then I think I have like every issue from 2004. I did, one of the things that I did get, because they offered it, was that you could get these mailed to you. So I think before, like, I maybe picked up that September 2003 at like a bookstore or a newsstand, but then I started getting these, mailed to me because they had a mail subscription thing, which was pretty cool. Those were kind of a thing. I guess they still are. I think some publishers still offer mail subscriptions for comics. I know I had some DC comics I got that were like the tie-ins to the animated series, and then it was Shonen Jump. I'd get these mailed to me, which also may explain why some of them were beat up. But let's go through, just take a look at the earliest and go all the way to the end. All right, so let's start with September 2003. Very much likely that I picked this up because Yu-Gi-Oh! Was on the cover. Because I was big into Yu-Gi-Oh! I was 8 in 2003? Yeah, kind of neat that they talked about Power of Chaos, which was one of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games. You got Yu Yu Hakusho, because that was airing on Toonami. I think that's why they decided to serialize the manga here. Of course, Dragon Ball. I mean, that was the big thing. But interesting, it does advertise color manga, One Piece and Naruto, plus Shaman King, and look at that, Sandland. If you guys want to know how I knew about Sandland, like prior to the big push by the anime and the game thing, it was because here was the lineup of the manga. See, the thing is, I probably bought it for Dragon Ball or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or maybe Yu Yu Hakusho. I can't remember exactly. That was 21 years ago, 22 years ago. So I'm not exactly sure why I wanted this, but for what was the price on these? For $4.95 US, which is crazy for like that many pages. For $4.95 US, there was enough in here. So it kind of like very much likely could be my introduction to One Piece. I think Shaman King's anime hadn't aired yet. But yeah, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Sandland, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Shaman King. That's a heck of a lineup to put in one book. But it was, some of these were lesser known. Like One Piece was not a big deal back when this came out. So then it kind of, they have like these display boxes you could order for your Dragon Ball manga. There's like, I think this is included. Yeah, I have this somewhere. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Power of Chaos trial version. That was probably attached right here, which was an actual trial CD-ROM to enjoy the Power of Chaos games, which is kind of neat. So this is kind of neat to see, is that we have One Piece Chapter 16, of course, because this is, what is this? This is the 9th Shonen Jump, so it had been going on. But it's kind of neat because it's like, oh, your One Piece graphic. It's funny because they were really leaning into the pirate thing. Like, look at that. It's, ye One Piece graphic novel be available now. Run to your bookstore. Really kind of just trying to sell the pirate stuff. But this is probably some of the first stuff I read because the Buggy arc was like super memorable to me when I kind of remembered that I did enjoy One Piece at one point. I'd spent many years away from it. The live action show made me go, oh, I actually do know this. Also of note, because this is pre-4Kids dub, it has Roanoa Zoro with an R. They would change it to Zolo with an L to match the 4Kids dub and then never change it back. But in these Shonen Jumps, I don't know if in maybe the original printings of these manga volumes, but at least in these original Shonen Jumps, they do refer to him as Zoro. And then because the Shonen Jump volumes from Viz don't include color pages, it's kind of the only way to get the color pages in English at this, which is kind of neat. But you kind of see the transition point from the color pages into the non-color pages, which is kind of neat. But this is like sort of the introduction of Buggy, and that's kind of I think that's why it's such a memorable thing. So Buggy was one of the characters I remembered the most. But yeah, that was kind of like the introduction there. This is like a little, like they'll do these like one-shot pages. It's like Wild Half was not getting serialized in the magazine, but they would advertise it kind of there. There's the Yu Yu Hakusho trading card game. I definitely knew what that was at this point because I definitely remember that. Here's an ad. Here's an ad for Broly Legendary Super Saiyan. The legend continues August 26th, which was, full-length feature film, plus a never-before-seen 20 minutes behind-the-scenes look at the video game Legacy of Goku 2 and an exclusive DBZ trading card. Yeah, it's kind of funny how these things go. But yeah, and then we got an advertisement for Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, and then, hey, there's Chapter 17 of One Piece, which you can see, once again, we got color pages, and then, once again, Zoro with an R. This is kind of neat, too. Here's some fan art that was submitted to the magazine. So there was One Piece fans at this point, prior to the anime airing, because the manga existed, and I think that's pretty neat, and I think it's pretty cool. So it's just kind of fun to see. So you get 2 chapters of One Piece, and we got Yu Yu Hakusho. No color pages here, because they weren't going to put color pages for everything. But here we are at Chapter 17. So we're kind of in the same spot with all these series. There's some fan art. Really cool to see, Yu Yu in here, which I think is awesome. And you can see, oh wow, this is still pretty early on. I know the original arc for Yu Yu Hakusho, like the first arc where Yusuke is like coming back and stuff, is very long in the manga. So it's kind of printed here, which is neat. Also, this is a much larger size than your standard manga volume, which is also kind of fun about this. All right, here we have Dragon Ball Z. So Dragon Ball Z is up to chapter 161. Which the thing is that they renumbered for, again, people may not know this. Dragon Ball as a manga was 42 volumes. With Dragon Ball, when it was published by Viz, they split at volume 17 is actually volume 1 of Dragon Ball Z in the Viz printing, which is kind of different. It's kind of weird. It's something I wish they would change. This is Android Saga, which would have been, it would have aired at this point already on Toonami, but it would have been, I think, in the Android Saga reruns. That maybe like why they're in the Android Saga. They probably started with the Android Saga, like the Trunks stuff. This is like my favorite Dragon Ball arc is the Trunks Android stuff. Really love that. All right, so here's my introduction to Naruto. I can guarantee you it was through this magazine because the anime hadn't aired yet. This is where I was introduced to it. And it's like we're dropped right into the Zabuza arc, right? The first time they fight Zabuza in the Land of Waves storyline. Such good stuff. Boy, Naruto in the early days was just really, really fantastic. Not to get all nostalgia on it, but like having finished the anime recently, it falls off after a certain point. Interesting to note too, Sasuke's in his Chunin exams era outfit here as opposed to the one he's actually wearing in these pages. So kind of interesting. Ultimate Muscle video game. There we go. A bunch of ads for like go buy the graphic novels, because ultimately what is the main goal here? Not to sell you the $5 magazine, but to sell you multiple $10 volumes, right? Or they were $8 at the time. Just an update on Dragon Ball and like Broly and stuff. And then we got some color pages for Naruto, which is really, really nice. I just think it's kind of neat to flip through this, because it was a different time where I like this. This is kind of neat. They kept the kanji for the water dragon jutsu in the manga, which I thought was kind of neat. Instead of translating it, kind of kept the intention. They did that in the dub too. Like they didn't say the names of the hand signs in English. All right, then we got Sandland. Sandland, of course, was not a long manga. It was only one volume. And so essentially, if this is my first Shonen Jump volume, this is me like jumping into the very near end of Sandland. And because Sandland is not that long, it only was one chapter per issue. So then with Yu-Gi-Oh!, this is another thing that got me interested as someone reading it. Is Yu-Gi-Oh!, not only do we have like the Japanese names like Anzu Mazaki and Katsuya Jinochi as opposed to the 4Kids dub names, it didn't just jump to the part that the second anime did. It actually is the early stuff is where they began, and this was more interesting to me as a reader because, you know, the anime didn't cover this stuff. And here we got like the Zombire arc, which is kind of neat. They also did this little thing where it's like, oh, it's supposed to be like a Japanese manga, so it, you know, has English and Japanese on the same page. There's some neat translation choices here. But yeah, it's kind of neat to have that early stuff. This one actually is 3 chapters for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Was really popping at this point in time. Then we got Shaman King. Shaman King, you know, this is probably, I think, before 4Kids brought the anime over as well. I know it sounds a little repetitive, but I just kind of wanted to spend time on this one. It's the first one I got. You can see as well, like this is like the arc with June, and he's fighting the martial artist that she's resurrected. I think this was probably my first Shonen Jump. I can kind of like, as I'm flipping through it, I'm like, I think this was the first contact I had with most of these series that weren't Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, and maybe Yu Yu Hakusho. Really cool, an interview with Hiroyuki Takei, who is the mangaka for Shaman King. And then here's like some gag comics from a thing. They're advertising Witch Hunter Robin. They're advertising F-Zero GX, which is one of my favorite GameCube games. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. So they kind of had like a little video game section. Stuff about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. Dragon Ball Z card game. And then it's like next issue, what can happen, and all that good stuff. And then it ends with a DVD advertisement for Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I collected those. Also, I like Luffy threatening to punch you because you're reading in the wrong direction. It's kind of fun. Also, the cover's the same on both sides, so that way they could just display, like, you know, if a store didn't know what manga was and they're supposed to be this way, they're displaying it this way, and it still works because it's still the same cover. Let's take a look at some issues from 2004, and I won't go as in-depth on those, but I think this was my first contact with most of this stuff, and kind of a nice little nostalgia trip. All right, so we're jumping ahead January 2004. This is, oh, look at that, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. Here's the advertisement for Don't Miss an Issue. And maybe that was what was put into the 2003. Not to backtrack this, because I'm kind of trying to remember. I think this is the card you mail away to sign up for a subscription that was here, and then maybe like the trial CD was here, or there was another section later on when there was a little like cardboard insert. Might have been back here. Maybe that was what I mailed away for, to start getting them in the mail, which is kind of neat. So first of all, we have Hikaru no Go, which was actually starting here, which is a series about a kid who has a spirit, and they play the game of Go. The interesting part is they start with the first page, and then you have to go like all the way past all the other stuff to get to like the actual next page. But it's just kind of a thing to lead you in. Look at this. The Shonen Jump graphic novel Power Pack. It's the first volumes of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Yu Yu Hakusho, Shaman King, Shonen Jump, One Piece, Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Z. So now the series that are in here is Hikaru no Go, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, One Piece, Shaman King, Yu-Gi-Oh! So they swapped out Sandland for Hikaru no Go, and they actually made a big push. There's a cool dot hack sign ad. They actually made a big push for for Hikaru no Go. They were trying to teach the game. They brought the anime over and dubbed it. I think they actually ended up dubbing the whole thing, I found out recently. Oh god, Yu-Gi-Oh! Falsebound Kingdom. That's not one of the loved games, by me at least, because I don't know. Yu Hakusho games. So it's kind of interesting how it explains like what the series is about, what the game is like, and this is, again, a first impact for me with this series. I know I read it in the Shonen Jump magazine. I know I got a couple. I know I got a couple of the Tankobon volumes, and I know I got a couple of the DVD volumes, but I never finished it. Maybe something I'll go back to. The interesting part too is that all throughout these issues, they have these little side comments where it's like, "Don't waste your money on skateboards and junk food. Spend your time and money wisely on Shonen Jump graphic novels. It's an investment." And that's like on every page with a margin. They're like, make sure you buy the graphic novels, because that was clearly the business model. It was to get you like interested and hooked on it, so then you would go and buy the volumes, because they advertise the volumes throughout. Like that is the main business. Here we got Naruto. You know, we're in the Zabuza arc. Dragon Ball, we're up to Cell at this point, which is really fun. Yu Yu Hakusho, what are we at? Oh my god, it is so slow. I've been watching the anime again recently, because I finished Naruto and I wanted a treat of a nicely paced anime. And like the fact they're still in like this early tournament arc where they first meet Genkai is crazy, because that's all that happens in like 10, 15 episodes. Yu Yu Hakusho Spirit Detective on the GBA, kind of adds there. Prince of Persia Sands of Time. We're in the GT era. We're still in Zoro. We're still in Roanoa Zoro. Yu-Gi-Oh! Where are we at? Oh, Chainsaw Deathmatch. Yeah, this is when Kaiba and his brother were like sending people through hell. Early Yu-Gi-Oh! Was wild, guys. By the way, side note, Viz, could you like do a box set of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something? I'd like to read it, and I'd like to have a physical copy of like the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga. That's not like the 3-in-1s that are on the really thin like Bible paper. I'd like to actually have nice copies. Just something out there if you're watching. Oh, they're advertising Knights of the Zodiac. You know, Saint Seiya. It's not going to be in the magazine, but it's going to be in the actual like volumes. Okay, so since we're going sequentially now, I'm just going to look for like new and interesting things, right? Like what's different? Because like obviously all of these are the same series we just were looking at. It's just now they're a couple chapters, you know, this is like the next 2 chapters. Oh, hey, SD Gundam Force. Remember when they tried to make that a thing? They had a Shaman King monster contest, apparently, for, like, people's designs. Like, you could enter to, like, have your stuff in the Shaman King games. DVDs. You can buy them at Best Buy, Amazon, Suncoast, or Target. Well, Best Buy doesn't sell physical media anymore. Amazon still does. Suncoast is dead, and Target doesn't sell physical media anymore in stores. So, you know, times have changed, not for the best. Oh, look at this. Okay, so this is like when they were really expanding like the Cartoon Network, like Toonami lineups. We got Gundam, Encounters in Space, but Lupin the Third, Treasure of the Sorcerer King is a PS2 game for Lupin, because Lupin Part 2 was airing on Adult Swim at the time. And then some advertisements of what's in the next issue. So far we'd looked at covers with Yu-Gi-Oh! And then Naruto on the cover. Now we got a Shaman King cover, which is pretty awesome. Like Shaman King, you know, I won't say it was like mega hit, but it was popular. Oh, I see. Check out Shaman King anime on Saturdays on Foxbox. Yeah, they have started airing the anime at this point. This is one of my favorite covers because I like the gold. I like the kind of premium feel. It's, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vs. Kaiba the Showdown. This is artwork from later in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series when everybody's playing card games. Looks like some Gundam Seed model kit advertisement there, which is kind of neat. Oh, here we go. So this is interesting. This is coverage of Jump Festa from 2004 that, you know, kind of shows like, you know, Jump Festa, which took place in Japan. And it does mention Bobo 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 Bo, which is kind of wild because I don't think Bobo Bobo had been licensed yet. But it does mention Jump Festa, Shueisha's annual extravaganza for manga maniacs and marketing mavens, threw open its doors for throngs of fans this past winter, and Shonen Jump was there to capture the action. Weekly Shonen Jump's new web experience, Jumpland, was a major presence, and today's hot manga like The Prince of Tennis, Beach, and the imitable Bobo 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 Bo took their place alongside venerated classics like Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball Z. Toriyama's influence on the Flash-based Jumpland.com, which is like this little Flash game down here, is obvious. The world is loaded with super deformed DBZ characters and has the whimsical look of his best work. Stay tuned to Shonen Jump for more on Jumpland in the coming months. I guess maybe they thought they were going to release Jumpland over here. I don't know if they did. It's interesting. They talk about some series that would get licensed and get brought over. Here's another continuation of that, Prince of Tennis. They definitely brought that over as well. Bleach definitely came over. In fact, I think that's the trade dress for Volume 1. Here's like a thing talking about Dr. Slump, which I think, it's like, oh, hey, do you like Dragon Ball? You also should try Dr. Slump. And I know they would license and bring that over as well at some point. There it is, advertising Ultimate Muscle, the Kinnikuno Legacy, the original Kinnikuno manga, Rurouni Kenshin as well. Here's a spot on Custom Robo, one of my all-time favorite video games. May 2004, we got Vegeta on the front, and we got a preview of Prince of Tennis. Yeah, they were just talking about that in the previous issue. There was a Seventh Samurai video game. So we got a Prince of Tennis preview is what they call it, because they're not going to have Prince of Tennis every month, but they are going to put it in here to kind of like entice you into buying the volumes. And it actually worked, because I did buy, I think, the first volume of Prince of Tennis. I was trying to be into everything at the time. Prince of Tennis, it's about tennis. I mean, it's not something I would watch nowadays, but back then I gave it a shot. Some color pages for Hikaru no Go. That's a beautiful page. That is a beautiful spread right there. That looks really nice. Just really cool. And also the way they would talk about like the strategies and how to like learn the game, I think was really cool. Just kind of like expanding like cultural stuff. All right, June 2004, manga preview for Bleach. See, they were kind of like, oh, hey, Prince of Tennis. Oh, hey, Bleach. Oh, hey, Bobobo. And then they followed them up. Smart strategy. Also, Dr. Pepper manga contest. We need to find out what that is. Here's your preview for Bleach. Invader Zim advertisement. That was such an anime-coded series. Like, it kind of makes sense that they put it here. Also, because Media Blasters and Anime Works was the ones that did the DVDs. There you go. Here we go. Dr. Pepper doing an ad. So Dr. Pepper is like, what will your manga character look like? What's more fun, drinking Dr. Pepper or drawing manga? Probably drawing manga. That's no shade against Dr. Pepper. It's just, art is fun. Go grab a one-of-a-kind taste of Dr. Pepper and get drawing. You could win one of several great prizes. Send us your best drawing of what you look like enjoying a refreshing Dr. Pepper in manga style, and you'll be entered to win one of the following great prizes: a mountain bike, a Nintendo GameCube, or hat. Not the most enticing prizes, but I also don't even know who won. Bleach is huge. Bleach is so popular. And yet they didn't put Bleach into the main Shonen Jump magazine at this time. I think they did later, but at this time, it was just, here's the first chapter, go buy the volume. And it may be because the series is more mature or more violent in some ways. I don't know. But it's like, hey, go buy the volume. That was your I don't even think it's a full chapter. That's too short to be the whole first chapter. Yeah. All right, advertisements. More Dragon Ball GT on home video. More Yu-Gi-Oh! On home video. Jacket capes are cool. No, seriously. Yeah, jacket capes are cool, except when they cause your Trafalgar Law figure to fall over. Go check my YouTube shorts if you're curious. So 2 months in a row, Shaman King cover. Pretty nice. No Bobobo preview at this point. Also, Zitcare? That's a sponsor of Shonen Jump now. Spider-Man 2 Dr. Pepper. Guys, there's a Dr. Pepper contest again, but it's Spider-Man themed. Here's a pull-out poster of Krillin and Roshi and all that. That's kind of cool. And then on the other side, you got, hey, the classic Dragon Ball saga comes to a close with Volume 16, because it's advertising that, hey, we got to the end of the first part of the manga. The next volume will be Dragon Ball Z Volume 1, because we did a dumb split thing. This was fun. This was like a steel case that was a reissue of all the episodes for Season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is only on 6 discs as opposed to the 14 volumes that 4Kids did. Of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! Gets the main cover here because it is movie time for Yu-Gi-Oh! It also has the preview for Whistle, which is kind of interesting. BoJack Unbound, the Dragon Ball movie that gives me the least amount of continuity headache. What else we got here? Yugi's early days, an interview with Kazuki Takahashi. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, first chapter of Whistle here. That's actually some really nice artwork. Like the painted style is kind of neat. It's a lot of color pages. Yeah, I don't know anything about Whistle because I think I never followed up on it because it never followed in the magazine. Then, I remember this. I remember this being a big, big deal. So fold-out poster. Once again, this one's got Baba on it, which is cool. And it's advertised. Is that Tales of Symphonia? Yeah, Tales of Symphonia. So then this is celebrate Dragon Ball Z's 200th chapter, which is not Dragon Ball Z's 200th chapter. It's not Dragon Ball's 200th chapter, but they're doing that. Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance is fun because they have like all this art from Sandland of like Beelzebub playing his Game Boy. Then this is cool. So when I say these were like complete and sequential, here is the special chapter of Trunks' story, the history of Trunks, like what would be adapted for the anime special, and you actually get the color pages for it, which is really, really awesome. A full-color Dragon Ball release with a proper translation would be super duper nice. Here's your exclusive preview, Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. They're like, look at this guy, isn't he cool? Look at all this stuff, it's gonna happen, and it's approximately 92 minutes long, which is about 131,200 frames of animation, because, 24 frames per second. The film mixes computer-generated images and hand-drawn ones, and Dan Green does the speaking parts in Yu-Gi-Oh! For both Yu-Gi and Dark Yu-Gi, and if his voice sounds familiar, it's because you may hear him. If his voice sounds familiar, maybe because you heard him from Yu-Gi-Oh! But also, he's a member of the Dead Enders in the Shaman King anime. Like if you've heard Dan Green's voice and think it sounds familiar, like this is the first time he's played, a character, like this is obviously the character he's most famous for. He also is in Shaman King. Big old screamy Goku in the front. One Piece anime sneak peek. That is what we're here for, because this is going to be like the moment. Beat the Vandal Buster. First chapter. Preview, not going to continue, but hey, color pages. That's pretty rad. So One Piece and hit serialization in this magazine at the Sanji Baratie arc still says Zoro at the time they started advertising the animes. First of all, here's our nice Ten Shinhan and Chaozu poster. Okay, so this is it right here. This is the preview for the One Piece anime, because it was, 4Kids was licensing. Shanks says, I'll be watching. No, you should be watching the Funimation thing. That comes later. This, for me, was where One Piece fell apart, I think, because I liked the manga. I remember liking the manga, and then I saw the anime, and then, infamously 4Kids, because they were taking anime that wasn't really for kids, and then having to make it for kids and fit broadcast standards. They had to do a lot of editing, just a ton of work. It disconnected for me, because when I saw what was on screen, it didn't match what I'd been reading. And that, I think, is why I didn't stick with One Piece the way I did with Naruto, because it had a much more faithful dub. Same with Dragon Ball. Here's an interesting note, though. Rono Zoro, or Zolo as he'll likely be known in the anime. It's like they didn't quite know, but they heard that was going to be their choice of romanization. And for all, intents and purposes, like, Zolo and Zoro are both correct because of the Japanese R&L. It's just Zoro is the more, official one, because it's written on his wanted poster in English. In the Japanese release of stuff, it's like what Funimation uses, what the Netflix version uses. Like, everybody uses Zoro now. Only the manga still uses Zolo, because I think they got too far in to go back and change it. So they're going to put Monkey D. Luffy on TV. They're going to make a big star out of him. It's a TV series about a kid who wants to be king of the pirates, and all he's got to do is act naturally. We'll bet you he's going to be a big star, might win an Emmy. You can never tell. I have no idea what they're talking about. Yes, indeed, One Piece anime. The anime is coming to Fox Box this fall. And we have a sneak peek at the animation. We have snapshots from the first 3 episodes and sketches of all the characters. Check it out. So it has they start it with, Nami, Zoro, Luffy, Usopp. This is interesting to me because you see this shot here where it's like, oh, bullets can't hurt me. You can see the bullets. I think this is like because I know they had to edit this because it's bullets, right? Like, someone correct me in the comments, but is this an unedited screenshot, which is then therefore almost accidentally false advertising because it wasn't quite finalized yet. I know a lot of 4Kids work was done last minute, but it's interesting. I don't see any blood. I don't see any the infamous shots where they had to do a ton of digital editing for realistic weapons, but it's kind of interesting to see. Here's another thing. Here's another one. All right, Shonen Jump Anime Uncut. This is uncovering relics of times that didn't go so well. What's high on your DVD library radar later this fall? Well, if it's our crystal bar is clear, and it really isn't, we got nachos all over it last night and needs new batteries. This was the jokes in the 2000s, guys. All right, it was post 9/11. It was rough. You're looking forward to moseying on down to video store to pick up copies of the collector's edition Yu-Gi-Oh! Releases of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Shaman King. I butchered that, but whatever. Sure, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime has already been released in America on DVD, but dude and dudette, these are newly revised versions. More to that point, they're unrevised. Small changes made to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime when the original Japanese production was edited for American TV, and we're not just talking about character names. Weapons were blurred out. Conversations were trimmed, the original soundtrack was replaced. Heck, these collector's editions run as much as 2 or 3 minutes longer than the episodes that first appear on TV between commercials for sugar water and video games. Wow, they were just advertising Dr. Pepper, okay? They were just advertising Dr. Pepper. Now they're slamming sugar. The Shaman King DVDs have never been released, and these sets will differ in the same ways the episodes broadcast on the Fox box. Yugi asks, am I old enough to watch my own show? Good question. Picture here before and after. So, for example, here is sexy Harpy Lady, 4Kids, TV broadcast Harpy Lady. And that was just what the changes were. And then same thing down here, we went from the spikes on the breastplate to no spikes. And then we went, this was a legal thing. They had to legally change the cards because if they looked like the actual English cards, then they would be considered like advertisement, and that breaks several laws about advertising to children. So there's that. And then down here on Shaman King, you can see that they had removed the inscriptions on the talisman for the 4Kids version. So it says, how different are they? Let's just say that the original DVDs were rated for ages 7 up, where these are rated for 13 and older. In brief, these are not your kids' brothers' DVDs. Sure, you have to pay a little extra for these too powerful for Saturday morning TV editions. The originals retail for $14.98, and these are priced at $19.98. 3 episodes each, 2 volumes for each title to start, but it's worth it. So this is interesting because basically we learned this sort of recently from someone who worked in the home video department at 4Kids. They just didn't sell. That's the whole reason they stopped, because they did 3 volumes for Yu-Gi-Oh! They did 2 volumes for Shaman King. That means there was 9 episodes, and they were redubbed as well. They weren't using the same dub. They used a lot of the same cast. They did some recasting here and there, but it was new dubs on the original Japanese versions for Yu-Gi-Oh! And Shaman King. And there was 9 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh!, 6 episodes of Shaman King. They didn't make any further because they didn't sell very well. It's interesting because at $14.98, you would get, I think, 4 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh!, 3 or 4 on a normal volume, and then at $19.98, you're only getting 3. Because these weren't airing on TV, this was the only revenue source for the uncut editions. But they clearly tried to market them to the right audience. It's just that audience wasn't big enough at the time. As we've seen with Discotheque Media releasing both Japanese and English Shaman King, there's a market for it now. But at the time, there really wasn't. And kind of a bummer, especially because Shaman King didn't have any DVD releases outside of this. It was only uncut DVDs, and so only 6 episodes ever came out. But anyways, that history lesson aside, at least we have the 6 episodes they redubbed for Shaman King did appear on the Japanese edition Blu-ray for Discotheque for Shaman King, which was nice. Here's some of the Shaman King toys. Okay, these barely lasted I think a year or so, but you can see we got the action figures. The thing that always bummed me out about these as a kid, I have Yo and I have Len somewhere. I have those 2. But with these guys, they were mostly static. You can kind of see they're pre-posed. They're more statuesque. They came with a little spirits to attach to the weapons and stuff. But they were mostly static figures, and they did some bigger ones that were action feature based and such. But yeah, I mean, these were $6 at the time, which is not horrible. But yeah, I think because they were static figures, I think they didn't sell super well. Lord Yo, I've been reduced to pocket size. Yeah, Midamaru is crying about that. But these are kind of neat. These are also little super deformed figures. They're $4 a piece. I know they did some bigger ones, they did house Spirit of Fire and stuff, but that was really rare because this line didn't last super long. But hey, they tried. All right, November 2004, nearing the end of this. Luffy is on TV. 4Kids pieces here. There is a lot to get into. Let's just get to it. I haven't looked. Oh no, this one's all. Oh no. Age has gotten to this. Yeah, there's some pages falling out. We're gonna be careful. Here we go. The One Piece anime guide. Oh boy. Yeah. So here it is. So here is your early advertisement before. For this tanked One Piece's reputation. That's so sad. Basically it's we'll keep you clued into the circle, and it's episode 1, see One Piece volume 1 chapter 2. Pretty cool, because yeah, they didn't start with chapter 1 in the anime. See One Piece volume 1 chapters 4 to 7, chapters there and there. The screenshots definitely are the edits. I don't remember how they handled Shanks' arm in the 4Kids edit, but I know it was bloodier in the Japanese as maybe the edited version. This could be the Japanese. There's some blood stain there. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's really, really interesting how the marketing begins. Here we go. Episode 5 and 6. They pick shots specifically that wouldn't have had edits, maybe intentionally because they knew. But there's 5, 6, and 7. Still Zoro, though. Still Zoro in the actual manga part. Here, Dragon Ball GT was so into this idea that the first 16 episodes were lost that they even had a Lost Episode Saga card game expansion, which is crazy. They do a lot of advertising for Beat the Vandal Buster, despite that series never taking off. It's the final issue of 2004 with Gohan to the rescue. All right, so One Piece, we got episode 8 and 9, and then still up. There it is. There's the switch. So the November 2004 issue, it was still Zoro. The December 2004 issue, it is Zolo. So that's when the switch to Zolo happened. I think in the volumes, maybe the earlier printings of volumes 1 through 4, because this is advertising that 5 is coming up. Maybe the earlier volumes 1 through 4 have Zoro. Capsule Monster Coliseum, that game I heard is terrible. Catching up with Yusuke, kind of a recap segment to kind of go before they start the Dark Tournament for Yu Yu Hakusho. They're like, hey, here's the catch up on the story so far. Oh, here's our first game for Full Metal Alchemist for the PS2, which it's like, watch the series on Adult Swim and Funimation channel and stuff. A gift guide. Okay, hold on. This has got to be fun. Shonen Jump gift guide is broken down by character. So Manta, your bookish friend, DVDs, Bruce Lee Ultimate Collection, and My So-Called Life. I mean, dichotomy, Manta, that's good. Novels, Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials trilogy. Shonen Jump graphic novels, Yu Yu Hakusho and Hikaru no Go. And then other goodies, Portable Electronic Dictionary, Kevlar Vest. Yeah, Manta just went through an arc where his chest got split open by an evil surgeon. So Kevlar Vest, yes, good call. Yusuke, your tough punk friend. DVD, Ghostbusters. Yusuke needs some solid role models and a sense of humor about himself. Ain't that the truth? CDs, Something Old, Great Early Punk by The Jam on Compact Snap, and Something New, Super Hard Rock from Shadows Fall on War Within. Graphic novels, Dragon Ball Z, yeah, that fits in. Other goodies, Hair Pomade, Slingshot, Pump Action, Water Pistol. That was going somewhere else at the end there, but glad it ended with Water Pistol. Kaiba, your friend that has everything. DVD, MTV Cribs Collection, Home Decorating by Folks with Money to Burn. They really thought these out. FAO Schwartz catalog and gift certificate, unless your friend already has a $12,000 treehouse. Sony PEG VZ90, probably the most expensive PDA yet. It's only available in Japan. Shonen Jump graphic novels. Track down the special rare collectible foil editions of the first volumes. They're like, for your elitist punk friend Kaiba. Oh my god, there's more. Okay, all right. What do we got for Bulma? Your fashion-conscious friend. DVD, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, Bulma would like that. Novel, something from that Gossip Girl series. Shonen Jump, Hikaru no Go, Bleach, and Yu Yu Hakusho. Other goodies, Tantia UV Smart UVA UVB monitor for avoiding overexposure to the sun. Flower petal flip-flops, not just for the beach anymore. All right, Sanji, your gourmet friend, and also chain smoker. CD, Nora Jones's Feels Like Home. All right. Book, I'm just here for the food. Food plus heat equals cooking. Yeah, okay. Shonen Jump, Naruto, because he shares the main character's love of ramen. Does he? Because I saw Sanji, murder a ramen man later on in the story. I don't know if he loves ramen. Other goodies, candy cigarettes. He's got to break that bad habit. And Grey Poupon, of course. They're like, you got to get him off the thing. Also, he's got Yugi's puzzle box. What's he doing with that? All right, Sai, this is the ghost from Hikaru no Go. CD, Yo-Yo Ma's Silk Road Journeys When Strangers Meet. Sure. Book, Learn to Play Go Volume 5. I think he'd already know at this point. Shonen Jump graphic novels, Rurouni Kenshin. Yeah, that fits. Other goodies, the old world style scrolls that Shonen Jump characters on them. Season subscriptions to local theater companies or Symphony. Yep. All right, Hercule, because they weren't calling him Mr. Satan. DVD, Hoop Dreams. Okay. I didn't know that I didn't know he was a sports guy, but they're like, Hoop Dreams, Madden NFL 2005, sports manga, including Prince of Tennis and Whistle, and Ultimate Muscle. Ultimate Muscle fits because he's a martial artist. And then other goodies, Dragon Ball Z cover for the Game Boy Advance from Newbie. Protects your machines from scratches. Oh, it's like a screen cover. Okay. That explains it. That was fun. All right, so that concludes 2004. Let's look at some of the issues after this are less sequential and more sporadic. So let's go into the sporadic ones. So as I was editing the video, I realized I filmed like way more footage than what could be fit into one video. And I really enjoyed doing this, and I had such a good time flipping through these. I actually recorded like an hour and 43 minutes of raw footage. But I'm going to cut it off at 2004 for part one. I originally intended this to be one video, but I was having so much fun going through these that I ended up making like a way longer video. So there definitely will be a part two, maybe even a part three. So if you don't want to miss out, be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you haven't already, hit the like button while you're down there. Leave me any comments. Tell me if you do want to see a part two, because I probably will release it anyways. It's already filmed. I already started editing part of it. I just thought, you know, it'd be kind of a disservice to just be cutting it down so much to try to cram it into one video. Like, let's just do it as two. Why not? Would be a good time. Keep up with the channel on our Discord server. You get notifications for new videos, as well as join our community for discussion. You can also become a channel member and get perks like early access to videos, member exclusive live streams, and more. Let's give some special shout-outs to our channel members. Special shout-out to our channel members: Captain Tears, Spin-54, Toma K, MasterBen95, Jamie's World, Forever1000, Super Shaddix Boom, Capybara Enjoyer, Kyle Birdwell, Crestfallen Thoughts at Midnight, Vangel Giorgio, Mr. Smelly Potato, Star Warrior Robbie, Oni Onichan, B-Tub, Gang1, and Starwho. Thank you all for your support of this channel. You can find me on social media at Blue Sky and Discord at Soundout12. You can find my awesome graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at HeroClub.com for anime interviews and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, see you in part two.